Now, next, I'm very excited to introduce one of our other sponsors today. This is Greg Elfering, who is president of the Americas of Ultimaker. And it's really exciting to have Greg with us. He's going to give us a little bit of an overview of Ultimaker here. So take it away, Greg.
All right, guys. I hope everyone can hear me good. I think I've got my screen broadcast, and I apologize. My video is missing. So let me see. Here we go. Okay. Good morning. You guys should be able to see me now and hear me and see a presentation. So on behalf of Ultimaker, I want to thank everyone for joining us today. And a little bit of background about myself. I've been involved in 3D printing for the last 16 years. And I joined Ultimaker a year ago, really for the reason that a lot of us are talking about today, which is this is one of the most adopted 3D printing technologies. It's the most democratized, meaning it's put in the hands of the most people. And as many of you have seen on the news, it was really kind of one of the first technologies to respond to a breakdown in the supply chain with the recent COVID problems, all the personal protective equipment that's being made. So I'll go ahead and give you a quick introduction to Ultimaker and where we fit into education and connection to the workplace. So my second slide here, bear with me. Okay, so what about 3D printing? What about Ultimaker? Many of you who have been involved in 3D printing over the years, look at these 4 bullet points: user-friendly, simple workflow, open system, and reliable. Those 4 points were a difficult combination in the early days of 3D printing. And what made Ultimaker unique is that we focused on these 4 characteristics of 3D printing, and they largely represent our success in the market. We've really tried to make a very user-friendly technology. Out of the box, you should be printing within 20 minutes. So it's engineered to be a very user-friendly device, to be intuitive, to enable you to try and troubleshoot and work through any issues that you encounter, to be very visible. So we also try and engineer a real simple workflow, and that starts with materials that the machine can recognize and work really well. It's also starts with the software, so you're going to hear a lot about Cura, but then the printer and all the settings and controls are easy to use and present a very simple workflow that for certain children have been able to adopt. We promote an open system. Ultimaker sells its own materials, but we also recognize that engineers, materials are the solution. That's what engineers are going to solve problems. And of course, the geometry and the part are important, but the materials are really the solution. So having a device that's open and allows materials that exist today, but also materials that will be invented or improved for use, that's a critical kind of vision of Ultimaker. And so we've decided to keep our systems open. It's not necessarily the most profitable business strategy, but we feel it's the best for democratization of this technology and also adoption by true professional engineers. And then reliability. Reliability is, I would define it as the ability to get a successful print. And there are a lot of steps in 3D printing that you're going to hear about. The most important thing is that you have the ability to control them, to affect them, so that you are running the printer in a reliable way. And we put a lot of engineering into that, both the software and the hardware, but we also keep it very intuitive so that you as the user can keep the printer in a reliable state. So those 4 characteristics are really what has driven Ultimaker's growth. And I show this slide, we've not been in the world for too long. We started in 2011. The three founders of our company, based in the Netherlands, they started this in a garage, almost in an apple orchard in the Netherlands. And their early devices were completely focused on the maker space. All three founders were passionate about being involved in the maker space, true entrepreneurs, true creative folks that wanted to take their ideas to the physical. And they also understood that software was a key part of this. So shortly after we were founded, they invested in software that we still to this day give away for free. So it's become one of the most widely adopted 3D printing softwares in the world. And educators, industry take advantage of it in a good way. They're able to download it, multiple copies, multiple versions. And Cura, in the very easiest sense, is a G-code generator. It is creating the machine commands that enable a 3D printer to do its work. So that investment in software early in our development was critical, and it really fueled our growth. In the 2014 to 2015, we opened a facility in Memphis, Tennessee. So even though we're a Dutch technology company, we do manufacture our product in the United States. And it was right around this time that Ultimaker decided to really brand their products, try and become more of a mature product offering type company. So we started to expand our product line pretty dramatically. And that's continued, to the tune of about at least a new printer every year, or some fairly substantial accessories and software improvements every year. And that's what's driving our growth. That's what you see here. In the last 5 years, we've grown substantially, and we continue to grow in a healthy way. So just this past year, we introduced the Pro Bundle, which is our most advanced 3D printing system. It's engineered to keep materials dry, to keep the build chamber controlled, to keep the environment around printing safe, and to be extremely easy to use, to put materials in, and the machine largely does a lot of the loading and unloading for the operator. So hopefully you see that growth, and somewhere along the line, you've been a person that has interacted with Ultimaker. There's about 130,000 units installed today. It's a figure we're very proud of. We're about the number 3 as far as units installed in the market. So within 10 years' time, we're very proud of our success in this market, very grateful for people like 3D Universe and the education market, because as you're going to see in this next slide, education was really critical to our success. So we largely sell through distribution. So our products are sold by companies like 3D Universe. We find that they have a level of technical expertise for both teaching customers to use 3D printers, but also helping them maximize their use out of them. Fixing them when they need repair, but also teaching them to run new materials and to overcome problems that that really help them get the maximum out of their printer. We're proud that we can do that all over the world. So we regularly have projects where Jeremy's company may be working with someone here in Illinois, and then another reseller may be working with them down in Mexico or even in Germany. So we do have that ability to coordinate work around the world with this organization. So I mentioned students, makers. A lot of people show a slide like this to basically say, hey, we're in all these big companies. And, Ultimaker is in all these companies. But why I show this slide is to tell you how we got here. Most customers of Ultimaker in these companies had an experience with Ultimaker as a student or as a maker. They were using our printers when they were in undergrad or graduate school. They used our printers to facilitate one of their hobbies. Could have been rocketry, robotics, model cars, RC cars. You know, the work that was shown earlier in the maker space. We're fortunate that many of our customers today started in the education space. They were early adopters of Cura, and maybe they used Cura to drive competitive printers. You know, that's a reality with our Cura software. As I mentioned, it's a G-code generator. You can drive many other competitive printers with our Cura, and that's a fact. That's a reality. That happens today. But the fact that we gave that away and put that tool in the hands of these engineering students and college students and grade school and high school students, when they came into the workforce and someone said to them, hey, we need to make this machine part or this cover, their expertise came back to Cura, to Ultimaker, and that's what brought us into these Fortune 500, Fortune 1000 companies. So, you know, that I think is it's a good news story that that the skills that we're talking about here are finding their way into the workplace and are critical for kind of the development of our future workforce. So my colleague Matt Griffin's gonna talk more extensively about this, but you know, this speaks to the different ways in which people would interact with Ultimaker. We're an ecosystem. Some people got introduced to Ultimaker through the Cura software. Again, it's free. You can download it from our website. I encourage everyone on this call to go and download it. Even if you use competitive printers, competitive software, it's a completely complementary product in that regard. We have lots of industry partnerships. What we're doing today is a good example of that. We have a good line of materials that are priced economical, extremely easy to run, and have good mechanical performance. So the combination of those three enable us to be you know, successful with materials because we make them easy and affordable. So we have good engineering and support. So we do something with our resellers called site scans, where we'll come out and help you find a payback around 3D printing, you know, help you find maybe a lean event where we can do process improvement, jigs and fixtures. We also offer plugins for CAD. You know, a lot of everything in 3D printing, for the most part, starts in CAD. So the easier you can make it to connect CAD to the 3D printing software, the more ubiquitous that workflow is and the more elegant that workflow is. A lot of engineers like to stay in the CAD environment, so we make that possible. And then the Material Alliance. You know, I mentioned earlier that we're an open material company. You know, a lot of companies will say, hey, we don't want to run third-party materials because we can't control them, or we can't afford to develop all the styles. Ultimaker created an alliance with the material companies where we created a program where they have to develop the profile. We put those profiles, once they're passed and tested, into Cura. And then again, the world is able to take advantage of these print profiles developed by these world-class material companies. So we feel that's a more professional way of doing it. Again, we're trying to make it easy and a simple workflow, easy to adopt, easy to get that next level of performance. So the world of 3D printing revolves around this workflow. All the steps that you see here are going to be covered in the next presentations by my colleagues. So you know, I encourage you to look at this slide when you have more time. It is what 3D printing is all about, and we look forward to helping you really in every step along the way here. So my colleague Matt is going to show you a lot of different applications from fixtures, jigs, tools used in beverage plants. These truly are finding their ways into manufacturing environments today. So on behalf of Ultimaker, I want to thank you guys. I'm sorry for running long, Jeremy. I apologize. I thought I had that narrowed down, but hopefully you guys found that informative. And again, I'm very grateful for having the chance to talk. So thanks, guys.